Hocus Pocus by Pegasus Rescue Brigade. Chapter 10.
Expelled?
Dinky's voice cracked on the latter syllable as she placed her face in the floor hose, shaking.
What happens now?
She managed to croak from behind her hose.
Can I get a peel or something?
Bright Spark laughed coldly. With the proper paperwork, perhaps, but it would take months to process. And considering what you've done today, the odds of it getting you anywhere are very, very slim. As for the present day, your privilege to remain at the academy or on its grounds have been revoked.
So, what do I do for the rest of the day?
Dinky asked hesitantly.
The train doesn't come until Saturday.
I will be contacting Cathedral Station immediately, the dean replied. A special train will be coming later this afternoon, specifically to take you away from the academy. In the meantime, you remain in the antechamber outside my office. I'll have Sparkler escort you to the train when it arrives.
I can't even say goodbye to my friends?
Dinky asked, her eyes full of desperation. The dean shook her head. After what just happened, I'm afraid you must remain here, under the suspicion of Sparkler or the other 15 students.
I don't even get to go back to the tower to get my stuff. Can I go so Pony escorts me?
The tower is currently off limits, the dean said matter-of-factly. It's being investigated for potential dangerous damage to the infrastructure and remaining traces of dark magic. Your belongings will be sent to you at your home address as soon as it's safe to retrieve them. Tomorrow, probably.
Tomorrow? Where are the Phillies going to sleep tonight?
We have the supplies to set up temporary beds in the castle. Bright Spark answered curtly. Now, go sit in the antechamber. There'll be a few 15th students guarding the outer door, so don't try to leave. Get going. I have a lot of work to do, filling incident reports and contacting magical security agencies and whatnot. Which reminds me, there's going to be a footnote added to my documents officially identifying you, stating that you've been involved in destructive and life-endangering use of dark magic. I hope you weren't planning to pursue a career in the magical arts. It's going to be all but impossible to do so with your record.
What?
Dinky gasped.
But I didn't.
Hush, the dean commanded. You're actually lucky this happened at school. Had you done similar in a typical public environment, you'd be sent to a detention center for magically delinquent fools for a few months, if not longer. Dinky was left speechless. Cowering breath beneath the dean's glare, she climbed from the chair and trudged out into the antechamber. Everybody? Oh, she's a bitch. For hours, Dinky sat in the empty antechamber in crushing, total silence. Outside in the main hallway, a few older students were undoubtedly guarding the entryway. But if they were speaking to one another at all, the wooden door was doing a fine job of preventing her hushed voices from reaching Dinky's ears. The quiet was only occasionally broken when the Philly's emotions got the better of her, and a few sobs escaped. 1,000 different scenarios of what was to come swirled in her head, intermixed with her attempts to make sense of the situation.
So, your son was dead. How have I been hanging out with him? He's a little strange, but he certainly doesn't seem like a spirit or a zombie or something.
She shivered.
I wonder if he's somehow using his own dark magic to keep himself alive beyond death. Is that even possible? I'm not sure I want to find out.
Dinky mentally chided herself for not realizing something was wrong earlier. Sunbeam's desire to not only keep his magic secret, but to keep himself hidden from Dinky's friends suddenly made much more sense. The cult wasn't supposed to exist, so the fewer ponies that knew about him, the better.
That's why I never even noticed him until just a month or so ago,
she realized.
He slipped into the back of the classroom, posing as a student to get close to me. The magic and history professor spent all his time lecturing and hardly ever called on the students. Probably didn't even notice. Now he could prove he could still exist. I ended up doing just what Sunbeam wanted all along. You know?
Dinky struggled once again to choke back a sob. So much had happened in such a short time, and now here she was, facing expulsion and likely a ruined future. Everything was ruined, and it was all the harder to bear, because it was at least partially her own fault.
What's Miss Twilight going to think? And Mom will. Oh no.
Dinky remembered the words Princess Luna had spoken to her less than a day before. The greatest expression of thanks you can give, Miss Dew, is in your actions. It is through your mother's sacrifice that you stand here today. I am certain nothing would appease her more than to see you make the most of this educational opportunity.
And I blew it.
Dinky whispered in silence.
You gave me this chance, and this is what happens.
Overcome with sorrow and guilt, Dinky let herself collapse on the floor and began bawling. One after another, she thought of ponies she had left down.
Miss Twilight spent so much time and effort preparing me for this term. Now I don't have anything to show for it. And Clarity and Honeydew and Scuffle trusted me, confided in me, and offered me to help me when I needed. And I went and kept this for them until it was too late. They might even get in trouble too. Because of me.
After a time, Dinky wasn't sure how long, there were host steps in the adjacent office. Dinky sat up and wiped her eyes as the dean walked up to her. The train has arrived, she said simply. Sparkler is going to accompany you until you reach Ponyville. Dinky sniffed and nodded. Bright Spark opened the door and asked one of the older students standing guard to go get the overseer. Sparkler herself appeared a few minutes later. Goodbye, Miss Dew, the dean said, nodding curtly in Dinky's direction. I thought our paths would cross again. Dinky did not reply. She hung her head and followed Sparkler down the empty corridor. Dinky sat on the cushioned bench, trying to preoccupy herself with the rhythmic rumble of the train's wheels. Hours had passed since the initial incident in the tower, and the filly's fear and sadness finally set into a subtle numbness. Dinky wished she could just push everything out of her mind and enjoy a few moments of peace, but she could feel Sparkler's gaze burning into her from across the aisle. Save for the two fillies, the train car was completely deserted. No doubt ponies outside were watching the train pass and wondering why it was operating off its normal schedule. Dinky stared out the window, wondering what would come to pass once he arrived back in Ponyville. Sparkler had said nothing for 2 solid hours. The overseer remained in her seat, watching Dinky with disdain. Dinky met her gaze occasionally, but found herself quickly overcome with the desire to look away. Finally, she couldn't stand the icy silence any longer.
Sparkler, can I ask you about some stuff?
Why? Sparkler asked, frowning. In another hour or so, you'll be back in Ponyville, and none of this will be your life anymore. There's no point. Dinky sighed.
Sparkler, please, can't you just let me ask a few things before we part ways? Just for my own curiosity.
Sparkler gave a dissatisfied grunt. Fine, she conceded. I'll humor you. What's up? Dinky hesitated, searching for the right words.
About that spell I cast, she said finally. What exactly is it? Where did it come from? And why can you of course even do it?
Dark magic in any form is evil, Sparkler answered curtly. It's inherently negative. It only causes destruction and pain. Every pony knows that. She scowled. Well, every pony but you, apparently. If you really didn't know what you were wielding until you set fire to the tower, why didn't you tell the dean where you actually learned it? Maybe your punishment would have been less harsh.
I did tell the dean where I learned it, Dinky said quietly. I know my alibi doesn't make sense. I can't explain why a mad cult who's been dead for 40 years. I just did. He's still at the academy pretending to be a student.
Sparkler shook her head. I seriously doubt that. There'll be an investigation, of course, as to where you really learned it. The fact of the matter, though, is that you used dark magic, and given the evidence, the dean has no reason to believe you didn't know what you were doing when you did so. Dinky was quiet for a moment.
You're right, she said finally. I might not be able to prove what I said, even if I'm still allowed at the academy. I know I've been playing for a fool. but I'm not sure anybody will believe me. What was that spell you used?
Dinky ventured.
You know, the one that beat back the fire?
Sparkler groaned. Ugh. If you must know, that was a counterspell, she replied. Most counterspells were invented by powerful unicorns who spent their lives studying combat magic. Their whole purpose is to undo the effect of another spell.
Like the magic canceling spell, Dinky realized. The one that lets you interrupt another unicorn spell while it's in effect.
Sparkler nodded. Of course. That spell would have only worked to counter your spell if I'd been able to use it before you set everything on fire. Once the magic is out of the caster's control and acting on its own, it's much harder to stop.
So, how did you know how to stop it? Dinky asked. I know you had to grab a book to get the spell exactly right, but how did you even know where to look?
I learned it about class, obviously, Sparkler said, rolling her eyes. The Academy offers a course in combat magic to older students, so it's only fair to offer one about counterspells. Without them, whichever unicorn knew the better combat spell would immediately the effort of in a duel. And obviously, a unicorn using dark magic would be able to cause massive destruction if counterspells couldn't subdue them. Dinky nodded. She opened her mouth to speak again, but Sparkler stopped her. I think that's enough questions, she said coldly. You're not coming back to the Academy, so this information isn't going to be any use to you anyway. The more you allow yourself to become curious about magic, the harder this is going to become. Just accept it, your training is over. Dinky pouted, looking at the floor.
I was just trying to pass the time, she mumbled. I don't want to keep sitting here mulling over what happened.
We've passed enough time, Sparkler said, unmoved by Dinky's misery. It's only another hour to Ponyville. Sit there and stay quiet. Sparkler turned away and stared out the window intently, as if to prove she was done talking. Dinky sighed and tried to focus onto the sound of the train again. The final hour, to Dinky, seemed to take days. The sun was already beginning to deepen beneath the horizon when the empty train finally pulled into the equally deserted Ponyville station. The cabin door swung open, and Sparkler stood, escorting Dinky out to the platform. Well, we're here, the overseer said. You've been a troublemaker since day one, but at least now it won't be my problem anymore. Get going. Dinky gave Sparkler a disappointed look.
That's harsh,
she commented apologetically.
I just got kicked out of school. I know you and I haven't ever gotten along, but don't you have just a little sympathy?
It's my job to be harsh, Sparkler snapped. The dean says you don't belong at Celestia's Academy for getting unicorns, and I stand by her decision. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to return to the Academy to help with the restoration efforts on the Phillies Tower. Sparkler climbed back aboard the train and grasped the handle of the cabin door with a bit of magic. Goodbye, Dinky, and good riddance. The cabin door slammed shut. The train gave a sharp whistle, and a rogue puff of steam shot from between the wheels, forcing Dinky to back up. By the time she waved away for the cloud, it had left the station and was making its way toward the bend ahead. Soon, it was out of sight. Dinky was alone, with nowhere to go but back to her cottage.
I guess I better get going. It'll be dark by the time we get home.
Dinky turned away from the tracks and began to make her way home. Her hose clicked on the stone floor as she walked. The filly only went a few steps before stopping and listening intently.
I could have sworn I just heard another set of hooves.
There was no sound but the wind. Cautiously, Dinky began to walk again. Her ears twitched as she again heard footsteps that weren't her own.
Who's there?
She asked, turning around.
I hear somebody. Where are you?
You heard me, came a disembodied female voice. Well, crud. I guess it's harder to keep quiet on a stone than on the carpeting in that terrain. Red's light flickered into view, half a pony leg above the ground, revealing and radiating from no discernible source. The light of a filly faded gradually into view, and her transparent fur and mane were quickly replaced with her usual gray and sky blue. Oh yeah, I perfected my invisibility spell, the newly visible clarity said. smirking at Dinky's flabbergasted expression. Told you I could do it. It was a matter of oof! Clarity staggered backwards as Dinky tackled her and pulled her to a clustering hug. She took a moment to recover before returning the embrace.
But,
Dinky stuttered, lost for words.
Clarity, how? Why?
You didn't think I was going to just abandon my best friend after something like that, did you? Clarity asked. When the enchantment on my hair clip told me you were heading toward the train station, I realized what had happened. I knew they wouldn't let me talk to you, so I followed you from a distance. Pretty soon, though, it became obvious I wouldn't be able to talk to you. Sparkler was with you the entire time.
So, you stowed away on a train?
Dinky asked, amazed.
How are you going to go to class tomorrow?
Psst! Missing a couple of days of class isn't going to hurt, Clarity said, waving a dismissive hoof. Friendship is magic, people. Good friends are the ones who'll protect you when you're doing wrong. Best friends are the ones who are going to join you when you do something wrong and go down with you. I'll just catch the next train back on Sunday. So anyway, I knew the only way I could follow you was if I could get on the train without being seen. I couldn't think of any other way, so I tried my invisibility spell again, and it didn't work. I stuck right on the train before it left, and I was sitting on the bench just in front of yours the whole time. For the first time in what felt like ages, Dinky giggled.
I gotta hand it to you, Clarity. See, minute, you got guts. I just can't believe you did all that because you were worried about me.
Clarity shrugged. I figured you could use some support after what had happened. She said, you looked miserable on the train. I wanted to try to make you feel better, but I couldn't risk Sparkler seeing me. She gave Dinky a quizzical stare. So, what happened anyway? That was dark magic you used. You know, the stuff usually reserved for megalomaniac unicorns who have gone to deep end and want to bathe the world in darkness and misery.
I never heard of it, Dinky said simply. That's got to be why Sunbeam targeted me. He wanted a pony that wouldn't be too skeptical. I was a little suspicious about that magic, but I never thought it would turn out to be that destructive.
Yeah, that'd do it, Clarity said, nodding. The average unicorn foal has heard stories of dark magic from their parents. Those unicorns are taught to stay away from it early on. But you missed out on that phase.
Never mind me. How's Honeydew? Dinky asked nervously. She was unconscious the last time I saw her.
Oh, that, Clarity said. She's, all right. The school nurse is looking after her right now. She's conscious, but she's sort of sore inside. They said a few hours to calm down, and a good night's sleep should help fix her up, though. Dinky sighed.
She is gonna be okay, right?
Yeah, she's not hurt, Clarity affirmed. Her nerves aren't exactly the best, so it takes her a while to recover from something like this. Silence fell for a few moments. Eventually, Clarity spoke up again. I'm a little more worried about you than Honeydew right now, she admitted. I'm guessing you got expelled.
Yep,
Dinky answered bitterly.
The dean was just thrilled to give me the boot, too. Apparently Sunbeam's been dead for 40 years, so he didn't believe my explanation.
Clarity cocked her head. Sunbeam's dead? She asked. How have you been hanging out with him, then?
You tell me, Dinky said. I was surprised when Bright Spark told me. And Sunbeam's been taking care to keep a low profile, so nobody can really help me prove he's still at the academy.
Dinky sat down on the floor.
I don't know if there's anything I can do about all this,
she admitted, starting to sniffle again.
Right now, there's nothing to do except go home and tell my mom what happened. She's so gonna be disappointed.
I'll back you up, Clarity declared, placing a hoof on Dinky's shoulder. I know you better than any pony at the academy, and I know you wouldn't use dark magic on purpose. I'll defend your story for your mom, your tutor, and any pony else who listens. Clarity held up a hoof triumphantly for a few moments, but then deflated slightly. And also, I'm kind of stranded here in Ponyville right now and need a place to stay. In spite of her mood, Dinky grinned.
Well, I don't know how well the rest of it's going to go, but I can offer you that at least. Come on, let's get going. It's kind of a long walk to my cottage, and it's getting late.
Dinky sat down from the stone floor of the train station and followed the road down south. A few ponies were milling about, taking advantage of the last bit of sunlight the day had to offer.
So, this is Ponyville,
Clarity said slowly, craning her neck in all directions to look at the houses and shops.
It's a little smaller than Winchester, but I guess that makes sense since you guys have so many forests and mountains right around here. Winchester doesn't have all that stuff?
Dinky asked.
Nah, Clarity replied. The land out there is just hills and fields for miles around. We're lucky enough to find a grove of trees, let alone a forest. So, there's lots of farming, I take it?
Dinky asked. Clarity laughed. Ha ha ha! You'd think, wouldn't you? Actually, Winchester's on the coast. You should visit sometime, especially if you've never been to the sea.
I'd love to, Dinky said, but I don't know when we're going to get the chance. I'm probably going to be grounded for the rest of forever when Mom finds out about this. Never mind the fact that I won't be seeing you at school anymore.
We'll make it work somehow, Clarity insisted, giving her tail a decisive flick as she tried to desperately keep Dinky's spirits up. Even if they don't let you back into that school, we'll keep in touch. I promise. Dinky smiled weakly.
You're really upbeat, you know that?
Hey, my best friends down in the dumps, Clarity pointed out. I'm doing my best to lighten the mood. Clarity, I love you. You know that? Oh, fuck me. You're awesome.
You know, I do feel a little better, Dinky admitted. There's no denying that this has been a terrible day, but even one friendly face can really make a difference.
And that's a letter to Celestia right there! Dinky gently nuzzled her friend, and the two of them headed side by side back to the Doo cottage. Darkness had fallen by the time Dinky's humble home finally came into view. The cottage looked just as it did all year round, old-fashioned and small, but well-maintained by the dedicated mayor who owned it. A rosy glow shone out to the ground floor windows and illuminated the yard.
Well, this is it, Dinky announced. It's a little shabby, but Mom's been looking into getting a little renovation done, now that she can afford it.
It doesn't look bad, Clarity said. I love how you live a little ways outside of town. The remoteness really adds to the charm. Dinky trotted up to the door and raised the hoof to knock, but stopped when she heard voices on the other side.
Someone's here, she mumbled. Let's go look.
The village trotted around to the side of the house. Dinky hopped up on a crate and cautiously peered into the hall window, from which she could get a partial view of the dining room. Several ponies were gathered around the dinner table, with the remains of a meal scattered dishes from them. Dinky immediately recognized her mother and Anna breezed, then turned her attention to the other two ponies. One was an older Pegasus, white in color, with a green mane and wearing a green beret. The other was a bright yellow earth pony with a spiky brown mane, who seemed to be having trouble staying here.
Cloud covering long here, Dinky said, surprised. I guess Mom's invited her co-workers over for dinner.
Can you hear what they're saying? Clarity asked. Dinky pushed the window up just a tiny bit and swiveled her ears towards the voices inside. Huh, the poor stallion was so head over heels for her, he could hardly speak when she was around, Cloudcover said. I had to rehearse the whole conversation with the poor boy until it was practically automatic.
Did things work out when you worked up the nerve to talk to her?
Dizzy asked. Of course, Cloudcover laughed. It was obvious from the beginning that she thought the whole situation was adorable. She gladly accepted his offer as soon as he had enough courage to ask her to lunch.
You're just talking about work,
Dinky whispered. Oh, right. Your mom works at that matchmaking place, Clarity realized. Before Clarity continued, one shrill voice caught Dinky's attention. She turned back to the window. Is it just me? The daring stallion asked, or is the doc actually getting weirder? I went to give him a status report on my latest assignment yesterday and found him messing around with that little sippy-tippy bird thing of his again. Oh, don't be so quick to judge, Watt, Cloudcover chided. Every pony needs a hobby, and there's nothing wrong with Dr. Candyfloss playing with that delightful desk toy of his every now and again. Watt squinted. Playing with it, I understand. Wearing your little top hat and monocle to it, and then talking to it in a false accent might be taking it a little far, though. V's almost choked on his food, trying to stifle a laugh. Okay, you have a point. The boss is a little strange. The police at the round the table continued to talk and laugh, while Dinky remained at the window.
I almost don't want to bother them,
She whispered to Clarity.
They look like they're having a good time. As soon as I go in there, I think the fun will be over.
Clarity frowned. You're just looking for excuses now, she accused. I know it's going to be hard, but you have to go in there and tell her what happened. She's going to find out one way or another.
I know,
Dinky mumbled, stepping down from the crate.
I've wasted enough time. Let's go.
The village returned to the front of the house. Dinky took a deep breath and knocked on the door.
Visitors? At this hour?
Came Dinky Doo's muffled voice. Maybe Candy Floss felt some way time to come by after all, Bree suggested.
Come in, Dizzy called. It's not locked.
Dinky's order surrounded the doorknob and then pushed the door open. Clarity waited in the foyer, while Dinky tried around to the corner into the dining room, where Dizzy and the others had already resumed the conversation.
Hi, every pony.
Dizzy stopped mid-sentence when her daughter appeared. The rest of the table fell silent as well.
Dinky?
The mayor asked, her eyes achieving a rare moment of focus to confirm the filly's identity.
But it's Wednesday. Why aren't you in Canterlot? Something happened.
Dinky stared.
I needed to come home.
Dizzy spread her wings and floated from her chair and landed next to the filly.
What happened?
She asked, obviously concerned.
Are you hurt? Sick, maybe?
She looks all right, Bree said, also getting up. What's the problem, kiddo?
Well, there was an incident,
Dinky answered.
It's kind of a long story. Clarity's here, too. She can help me tell it.
I heard my name, Clarity said, appearing in the doorway.
Mr. Breeze, this is Clarity. She's that friend I've been telling you both about.
Pleased to meet ya, Mrs. Doo, Clarity chirped, stepping forward and shaking the slightly bewildered mare's hoof.
Yes, likewise,
Dizzy replied.
But, Dinky, I still don't understand. Why are you here? And why is Clarity with you? What's going on?
Dinky stared at the floor.
Well...
The filly retold her story. Dizzy and her co-workers remained silent, without interruption, as she recounted the meaning of Sunbeam, the study of alternative magic, and finally the accident that led to the fire in the tower.
After that, he took me to the dean's office, and she expelled me. It's true that I put a lot of ponies in danger, but I really didn't mean to. I had no idea what kind of magic I was using, but nobody will believe me.
Dizzy and Breeze exchanged worried glances. Dizzy reached out and put a hoof on her daughter's shoulder.
Dinky. I'm so sorry, Mom.
Dinky choked out, hanging her head to hide the tears that started flowing in again.
I didn't mean to cause trouble. I should have known better. Should have seen what was happening. Dinky. But it's too late. Now I got away from the greatest gift you've ever given me. I'm a terrible daughter. Dinky!
Dizzy yelled. Dinky looked up, and Dizzy took the opportunity to wipe away a few of the filly's tears.
Dinky, you listen to me,
Dizzy said.
You're not a terrible daughter. You're one of the sweetest, most considerate fillies in Equestria, and I am incredibly lucky to have you. I'm no unicorn, so I know I can't fully understand the details of what happened. But if you say you didn't know about this dark magic stuff, then I believe you, no matter what the others say.
Dinky sniffled.
You're not mad?
Dizzy gave the filly a hug.
I'm not mad. I know you would never intentionally hurt any pony. Circumstances were just stacked against you this time.
Dinky said nothing. She laid her head against her mother's coat, relieved but still depressed. So, there's no way you could get back to the academy? Bree said. There's gotta be a way to show them that this isn't your fault, right?
I don't think so,
Dinky mumbled, turning to face the stallion.
The Dean hates me, so even if I appeal to expulsion, she'll find a way to make the community that refuses it deny me. I don't think I can get back into school unless Princess Celestia herself commands it.
Dizzy tapped her chin thoughtfully.
Well, why don't you go into town and talk to your tutor? Twilight Sparkle has connections with Princess Celestia. Maybe she can help.
Oh shoot, we're bringing out the Twilight Bomb. Clarity's ears stood straight up. Wait, Twilight Sparkle? She asked curiously.
Yeah, she's my magic tutor, Dinky said. Do you know her?
Clarity's jaw dropped. Twilight Sparkle is your magic tutor? She cried. As in, leader of the elements of harmony and student of Princess Celestia, that Twilight Sparkle. Oh, sweet baby Celestia on high with little baby Luna riding on her back. She's a fangirl. Dinky grinned sheepishly.
Oh, yeah.
The purple filly mentioned it.
I guess I should have realized that ponies from other parts of Equestria would have heard of her. Knowing pony treats her differently than any pony else around here, so I never really thought about it.
I guess you didn't, Clarity replied, still utterly shocked. I know I wouldn't have been able to go off on half a term without mentioning to my friends if I had Twilight Sparkle as a magic tutor. Do you realize that half of the people in my town want to name their foals after her?
Yeah, you and 90% of Equestria. Well, why don't you go with Dinky to talk to her tomorrow? Dizzy asked. I'm sure she'd be flattered to meet a filly who holds her in such high regard.
Can I? Clarity asked, her eyes lighting up. I can't wait. I'm going to meet some of those powerful unicorns in Equestria.
The only thing that would be better is to see the great and powerful.
Hey, Trixie! Atlas are my bits.
Fine.
Clarity haunted place, looking thrilled. Dinky shook her head, grinning at her friend's antics. Jeez, put the brakes on, kiddo, Watts said from his place on the table. You're looking as hyper as, well, me, I guess.
Yeah, as much as we know you want to meet Twilight, your visit isn't exactly on happy terms.
Clarity stopped bouncing. That's true, she said in a more grounded tone. I came here to support Dinky when she needs me the most, and not to meet celebrity unicorns.
It's fine,
Dinky sounded in.
If you were as sober as I am tonight, this evening would even be more depressing than it needs to be.
She yawned.
It's been a long, difficult day, though. I think it'd be best if we get some sleep.
Ditsy nodded.
Clarity, you're free to stay in Dinky's room for the night. We'll have you get back to school tomorrow. It's in the room down the hall to the left, Dinky said. You take a look. I'll be right there.
Clarity nodded and disappeared down the hallway. I guess we're going to go too, Bree said as he, Watt, and Cloudcover trotted to the foyer. Come and meet me if you need me to help with this whole business with Dinky. Ditsy nuzzled her cold friend.
I will. Have a good night.
Stallions left, leaving Dinky alone with her mom. He stood in silence for a short while.
So, what if Miss Twilight can't help? Dinky asked. What if I really am expelled for good? The Celestia's Academy will be missing a wonderful student, Dizzy replied. But, no matter what happens, I want you to know that you're a very bright filly, and I'm proud of you. Somewhere out there, your dad's looking down on you, and he's proud of you too.
Go get him, sweetie. Dinky didn't reply, so the bear continued.
We will get this sorted out. So you're not a bad filly, and once we talk to Twilight, we'll make sure the Academy knows that too. Now, try to get some sleep. No sense of worrying about it anymore tonight. You're right, as usual,
Dinky admitted, smiling softly.
Good night, Mommy. Good night, Dinky.
Dinky entered her bedroom and found Clarity spreading a blanket on the floor.
What are you doing?
Making a place to sleep, Clarity replied. We don't have our bunks in here, remember?
My bed's big enough for two, Dinky pointed out. You didn't have to come to Ponyville to support me, so the least I could do was offer you a comfortable visit.
Really? Thanks, Clarity said, hopping onto the bed. Dinky simply nodded and climbed onto the other side. Both fillies lay there in the darkness. A feeling of tension hung around Dinky as he tossed and turned as he tried to push the day out of her mind to get some sleep. Still nervous, huh? Clarity asked.
Yeah, Dinky said. Even with you and Mom sticking up for me, it just feels like so much is working against me. I wish somebody could promise me everything will turn out alright.
I promise, everything will turn out alright. Clarity snuggled up against Dinky. I can't do that, but I can give you the next best thing. A friend who won't abandon you either way.
Aww, Dinky kid. Thanks. That's oddly sentimental, coming from you.
There's a time and place for mushy stuff. There's always a time and place for mushy stuff, Clarity replied. I like to keep things a little lighter, but now and then I've got to be serious. You know, to remind you that I'm not taking the situation lightly, even if I seem like it sometimes. Dinky nuzzles her playfully.
You don't need to remind me. There are only a handful of ponies in Equestria who care about me as much as you do.
The purple filly pulled over the covers.
Let's try to get some sleep. I'm exhausted.
Despite her worries, Dinky's tired body took precedence over her tumultuous mind. Snuggled up close to Clarity, the filly finally drifted off into slumber. Thursday morning came. Class began at usual at Celestia's Academy for Gifted Unicorns. Many miles away, 2 unicorns and a Pegasus mare made their way to the heart of Ponyville.
There it is,
Dinky said, mostly to the huge old tree in the middle of town.
That's where the yellow library where Twilight lives.
Clarity stared at the tree. I figured the elements of harmony would have grander homes than that, she commented.
Dinky chuckled. The Twilight, there's nothing more grand than a room full of books. Selling your big reading or reselling them when we get inside.
That's why her castle currently has 1 dining room, 1 living room, 1 ballroom, and a library, lab, and more libraries. Dinky knocked, opening the door, revealing Spike.
Hi, Spike, Dinky greeted. Is Twilight inside?
Oh, a dragon! Clarity squealed, trying up and examining Spike from every angle. Must have the dragon's discomfort. Do you deliver mail like the dragon at school? Yeah, Spike said, edging away from the eager filly. I'll, go get Twilight for you girls. Yeah. Spike gasped off, leaving the girls in the doorway. They stepped inside the tree. Clarity pushed the door shut with a hind hoof.
You need to chill a little, Dinky commented. I think you made Spike a little uncomfortable.
Sorry, Clarity replied. I'm just the kind of antsy. I can't believe I'm finally about to meet. Quick steps echoed from the stairwell, and the librarian stepped into the room. Twilight Sparkle! Clarity finished, her voice rising to a nervous squeak. Twilight smiled. Yep, that's me. Welcome to the Ponyville Library. How can I help you? Twilight paused mid-sentence, once he realized one of the fillies in front of her was her student. Oh, hi, Dinky. What are you doing here? She asked. It's the middle of the week. There's no reason for you to be home on a Thursday unless... Twilight trailed off. She placed her foot on her forehead, slightly exasperation. Come to think of it, news for Canterlot said there was some sort of incident at the Academy yesterday, but they haven't released the details to the public. Please, tell me this has nothing to do with that. Dinky shuffled a hoof.
Well, I could tell you that, but I'd be lying.
Twilight's expression filled with concern. Is that why you're here right now? She asked. Are you okay? Did you get suspended or something?
Expelled, actually,
Dinky admitted quietly. What? Twilight sputtered. But how? What did you do?
That's one of the things I came to talk to you about, Dinky said. I, sort of accidentally used dark magic.
Twilight's jaw dropped. What did you learn about dark magic? She asked frantically. I didn't teach you any of that. Most unicorns have only heard stories, and I only knew a few details until just a few months ago when the Crystal Empire appeared. For what made you like the millionth time, Dinky retold her story. And Clarity made sure to interject periodically with additional details and confirmation of events. Twilight looked surprised at the mention of a mysterious cult wielding dark magic, and horrified at the news that the tower nearly burnt down. When the filly finished, Twilight took a deep breath and let it out slowly as he processed all that Dinky had said. Okay, it sounds like to me that this whole thing is a result of your lack of knowledge about dark magic, the mayor said, and I'm afraid that's my fault. We were pressed for time during your tutoring, and I didn't think you'd even be exposed to dark magic. So I didn't think there was any reason to bring it up.
I still don't really understand what it is, Dinky complained. I know it's evil, but that's about it. Everybody's been avoiding any questions about it.
Twilight nodded. That's because it's an uncomfortable topic for most unicorns, she pointed out. Obviously, it's a little late now, but I can tell you what you need to know about it. At the very least, you'll have the knowledge you need, should you ever encounter it again. Dinky and Clarity plopped down on one of the footstools Spike used to retire shelves.
Well, it's not like we don't have time to listen,
Dinky admitted. I think both of us can use the knowledge anyway, Clarity said. Now that all this has happened, we should probably know a little more about it. Excellent, Twilight said. Then it's time for an apparently long overdue lesson. I don't have any books on the subject. The only ones that mention the topic in significant detail are in the Canterlot Library. I'll have to go from memory. Ahem, she cleared her throat. Dark magic, in simplest terms, is the antithesis of regular unicorn magic. Standard magic is inherently good. Even things like battle magic are not meant to kill or severely wound, thus to temporarily impair. That's not to say regular magic can't be used negatively, though. Many unicorns throughout history who went bad used regular magic to commit their crimes.
So, whether magic is good or evil is dependent on the wielder,
Dinky summarized. How is dark magic different? Clarity asked. Besides the opposite, I mean. That's the strange thing about it, Twilight said, leaning forward sharply. Dark magic is so inherently evil, it's impossible to use for good. History tells us dark magic was created as a corruption of standard magic. It is powered by the same base energy within a unicorn's body, but summoning it first requires transforming it into a twisted, poisonous shadow of the energy it was born from. The unicorn's enemy is built to make it easy to summon more typical magic, so any pony trying to cast dark magic is met with great physical and mental resistance. Both because their subconscious realizes they are using perverse willpower to corrupt the energy, because their body isn't used to the process that must occur to make it happen. Dinky bit her lip nervously.
And so, if a pony continued to practice dark magic despite that, would it get easier over time?
Twilight nodded somberly. It would. The body will adapt, as it does when exposed to any new stressor. An extended time without using dark magic would make it more difficult again. The more alarming effect, however, is dark magic's effect on the mind if used repeatedly. Dinky swallowed.
And that effect is?
In order to summon spells, the mind must create negative energy. Twilight explained. I suppose it's possible, in cases like yours, to not even realize you're doing so. But the special sensation this sunbeam showed you how to tap into your own dark side, the vices and temptations that good ponies suppress. If a pony uses a lot of dark magic, those bits of darkness tucked away have an easier time creeping forward and influencing the spellcaster's decision and attitude. In many cases, dark magic users are already acting on the intentions of the more vile part of their mind before even choosing to cast dark spells. So once they do, the additional influence makes it difficult to stop. Twilight furrowed her brow. How much dark magic did you use, anyway? From what you've told me, you only practiced for a short while, so I hope it wasn't too much. Dinky recalled the one instance, only 2 days before, when she felt a sudden rush of destructive intent after casting the fire spell with Sunbeam.
Not too much, she said weakly. Is the effect on the mind reversible, like it is on the body?
Unless it becomes a severe influence. Then it's hard to say, Twilight said, stepping closer to Dinky and examining her warily. You do want to stop using dark magic, now that you know what it is, right?
Yes!
Dinky insisted, looking shocked that Twilight would even ask. Then I think you're going to be okay, Twilight said relieved. Even I'm not exactly sure what happens when a pony uses lots of dark magic for a long period of time. Theoretically, if a pony was to do so, their conscience would eventually shrivel entirely as the influence of the corrupt magic they are creating takes over. Dinky glanced.
But that's not going to happen to me, right?
She asked, her voice strained. Twilight shook her head. Not unless you keep using dark spells, the mayor said. Dark magic may have had a minimal effect on you, since you did practice several times, but it should have caused a dangerous change. Just remember what we're talked about if you're tempted to use it again. If dark magic seems like a good idea, for almost any reason, that's just the influence of spells you have cast clouding your judgment. Ignore it and find another way to solve the problem. Hopefully, after a few months, the slight corruption will fade.
For almost any reason?
Dinky asked, raising an eyebrow.
I'm not planning to find myself in such a situation, but what would dark magic be considered a good idea?
Twilight sighed. Well, in most police lives, it's never a good idea, she said, her ears flattening ashamedly against her head. The only reason I said it is because I had no choice but to use a few dark spells to overcome some of the puzzles set by King Sombra, former dictator of the Empire. He was a user of dark magic as well.
You use dark magic?
Dinky asked, aghast. She and Clarity exchanged dark glances. Twice, Twilight said curtly. Both times were to unlock secrets Sombra had hidden. Believe me, I never want to cast it again. Dinky sighed.
I cast more than 2 dark spells, though.
Twilight tried closer and looked at Dinky's chin with a huff. Dinky, you're going to be okay, she insisted. The fact that you're so scared and remorseful about all this means you'll easily be able to overcome any damage done. Think of it like having a cold. When you get a little sick, you just rest and treat yourself with care. Eventually it goes away. Dark magic's done the same thing inside of you, and just like with any other small malady, it'll heal in time. But if you ever have any more concerns about magic you're not sure about, please talk to an adult. Dinky gave a secret grin.
I think I figured that much out, Miss Twilight.
Good, the mayor replied more cheerfully. Now, I know for a fact you didn't know any magic at all before I tutored you, and I know you did learn dark magic from me, strange as it sounds. I think your story deserves a little credit. Dinky rolled her eyes.
Tell that to the dean, she mumbled. She has proof that Sunbeam's dead, remember? She doesn't want me at that school, so she's going to take advantage of that for all she's worth.
I know, and I can't explain that either, Twilight said thoughtfully. But unlike the dean, I believe that you really did use dark magic unintentionally. I'm not really sure what's going on here, but I'm writing a letter to Princess Celestia right now to see if she can help. Remember, Dinky, she may be the dean, but me? I'm Princess Celestia's favorite student. I have ties to 3 rulers of Equestria. I think my power and my authority outranks her.
Dinky jumped up. That would be great, she said. I don't know if she'll overrule my expulsion, but maybe she'll believe me more than the dean did, at least.
She's Princess Celestia. I think she can.
Spike, Twilight called. Come down here, please. I need you to take a letter.
The boys listened to the distinctive sound of footsteps on the upper floor, followed by even more distinctive sound of a baby dragon falling down a flight of stairs. Oh! Too bad, Spike! Spike staggered into the room, dusted himself off, and quickly opened a scroll, looking at Twilight expectantly.
Dear Princess Celestia, Twilight dictated, after speaking with my student Dinky Doo, it has come to my attention that the actions by the Academy staff regarding the recent dark magic incident may have taken without proper attention to all the details and sides of the argument surrounding the event. If possible, I would like to request a brief meeting to see if you interpret Dinky's side of the story differently than the acting dean. Your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle.
Spike finished writing the note and sent the letter away in a brilliant puff of flame. And now we wait, he said. Don't worry, girls. Princess Celestia usually replies to Twilight in minutes.
In the meantime, Dinky said, grinning, I think my friend here has been dying to meet you, Miss Twilight.
Twilight turned to Clarity and raised an eyebrow.
Oh, are you one of Dinky's classmates? Yes, ma'am, Clarity said excitedly. My name is Clarity. It's so finally glad to meet you, Miss Twilight.
Twilight stepped back.
Well, you certainly are enthusiastic, she said, taking a bit back. You aren't even from around here, though. Why are you so eager to meet me?
Well, why? Clarity asked, son.
Haven't you stayed Equestria like 4 times now? Aren't you the leader of the Bearers of the Elements of Harmony? And most importantly, aren't you basically the most powerful unicorn since Starswirl himself to study at Celestia's Academy? Why wouldn't I want to meet you?
Twilight blushed. Oh, I guess stuff like that does get around, she admitted.
You bet it's gotten around, Clarity confirmed, especially in towns like Winchester, where there are a lot of unicorns. You're practically a legend there!
Clarity opened her bag, and a quill and roll of paper floated out in clouds of red magic. The objects presented themselves to Twilight. And I bet Clarity's wagging her tail, too.
Can I have your autograph, please?
Sure, Twilight giggled, taking the quill and scribbling her name. There you go. I've never been approached by a fan before. That's usually Rainbow Dash's job. Clarity opened her bag and placed the scroll inside, handing it with a sort of reverence, as if it were a most precious possession. Spike chuckled. Look out, Twilight, he warned. Pretty soon, you won't be able to travel anymore without getting trampled by an army of excited little... Spike's sentence was cut short by a sudden burp. The resulting tongue of flame disrupted a scroll marked with the royal seal on Twilight's hooves. Oh, look at that, he commented. Told you she answered right away. Twilight opened the letter, and 3 points quickly read through the short note inside. My dearest Twilight, Bright Spark sent me a report of the incident, but the details seemed vague, and the overall resolution seemed suspiciously simple. I would like to ask you, Mrs. Doo, and Dinky herself to meet me in Canton this evening, so I can be sure I have all the facts. I look forward to seeing you in the castle tonight. Princess Celestia. Well, that settles that then, Twilight said decisively. Go home, get your mom, and meet me at the train station in an hour. We're going back to Canterlot. Dinky couldn't help but feel a bit uncomfortable under the gaze of the dozens of staunch, motionless palace guards. Twilight didn't seem concerned, though. Hi, Steve. Hi, unimpressive. So she did her best to ignore them, and followed her tutor and mom down the long magenta carpet that led to the throne. Clarity trotted along silently beside her, taking in the majestic surroundings with unconcealed awe. At the end of the hallway sat Princess Celestia in all her glory. She smiled as her subjects appeared and bowed. Hello, my dear Twilight. The princess greeted. And hello to the rest of you. I wish we were meeting to discuss a happier topic, but what occurred at the Academy yesterday is not something that can be taken slightly. She leaned forward, looking over Twilight and Disney's heads, and directly at Dinky. Dinky, could you come forward, please? The 2 mares in front of Dinky stepped aside, allowing the filly to move forward. Dinky, intimidated, wasn't able to get herself to move until Clarity gave her a nudge. Are you mad at me, Princess? She asked nervously. I'm not going to judge of what had happened until I hear your side of the story. Princess Celestia replied gently. Your Twilight is correct, and she usually is. Your version of the story may differ from the one I heard from Bright Spark. Please, tell me exactly what you told the Dean. Dinky repeated her story yet again. Celestia's eyebrows rose at the mention of Sunbeam, but she said nothing until the filly had completed the whole tale. Interesting, the princess said. There are indeed a few points that Bright Spark left out, including the fact that she seems to be biased against you. You must try to understand her. She has been in the service of the Academy for many years, and usually she performs her duties very well. I realize she is becoming somewhat less compassionate as she ages, but I still believe she wouldn't expel somebody without at least a very good reason. I need to reconcile your story with hers before I decide she acted too quickly. Thankfully, she should be here to clarify it right about... Princess Celestia's last word was drowned out as the door to the throne room swung open, revealing an aged yellow unicorn in glasses. My princess, Bright Spark called as he trotted down the aisle. I came as soon as I received your summons. For what reason I was called here for an audience with... Bright Spark stopped when she noticed the pony standing off to the side. Her gaze came to rest on Dinky, and although her expression did not waver, Dinky could feel anger burning in the Dean's eyes. Ah, I see Miss Doo is here. I take this meeting pertains to the incident on Academy grounds yesterday. Yes, Celestia answered. The report you sent me yesterday stated that Dinky started a fire with dark magic in the girl's residence tower, and that after it was extinguished, it was unable to provide any reasonable alibi for where she learned the spell. So in light of the danger she caused, you expelled her.
That is correct, Brightspark replied. Use of the dark magic is, after all, a clearly punishable act. Even if lives hadn't been in danger, the use of that forbidden magic alone was severe punishment.
I don't deny that, Celestia replied. What I don't understand is why you failed to mention the point Dinky claimed she learned the magic from.
Oh, her alibi is so clearly false, I didn't even bother you with it.
Brightspark said simply,
I gave you the facts, not a desperate student's lies.
Jessie bristled.
Now, just wait a second, lady.
The Pegasus barked.
My Dinky is not a liar. The story she told the princess just now was exactly the same as the one she told me. If it was made up, there'd probably be some parts of it that were a little less constant.
Brightspark rolled her eyes.
Princess, I assure you, her argument is meaningless. The Dean continued, it's completely impossible for the police incriminating to have been present to teach her dark magic.
She described the pony in detail, Celestia replied, undeterred. She was able to name him, describe his appearance and cutie mark for each of us, and I assume she did the same for you. Do you deny this?
Well, no,
Brightspark said, a little less confidently.
But, my princess, it will some mean that she played. Her argument falls flat there.
Is it as simple as that? Celestia asked. You didn't even look into her claims?
Why waste the time? Brightspark said, Sunbeam is not a student, nor is he on the academy grounds. Last time we checked, he was buried in a forgotten cemetery in Hollow Shades. I hardly think a cult who died 40 years ago requires our attention.
If you're so certain he's gone, how is Dinky able to find out about him? The princess asked.
I don't know, Brightspark replied indignantly. I'm sure there's a history of the academy somewhere that mentions him. His death was a rather tragic incident. It was well publicized at the time. I'm sure you remember.
Be that as may, Dinky had to learn black magic from somewhere, Celestia argued.
Brightspark reared up and slid her forehost down. Princess! Why can't you accept that Dinky clearly searched out the resources to teach herself these spells? If she had a pony to incriminate, surely she would have mentioned that to save her own hide. And for the last time, Sunbeam is not an option because she is dead!
Brightspark!
Did you just raise your voice to Princess Celestia, ruler of the sun, defeater of Tyrak, Discord, and Nightmare Moon, your princess, the boss of your academy, the woman who, if she wanted to, could suddenly decide F it all and drop a solar flare on you, your family, and whatever pieces of your family tree are left. Did you just raise your voice and essentially told her she was an idiot? Did you just speak up against the princess?
You know, if you wanted to commit suicide,
why not just jump off the cliff? Or get eaten by sharks?
There are far less painful ways of committing suicide rather than
telling off the woman who's going to probably burn you if she wasn't so merciful. Do not raise your voice to me, Brightspark! Celestia commanded in the royal Canterlot voice. I may give you the privilege to run my academy, but that does not mean you may disrespect me! Brightspark's demeanor changed gently. She collapsed, quivering at the monarch's hooves. My deepest apologies, princess. I spoke out of line. She whimpered. I beg your forgiveness. That's right. Suffer. Suffer. Whip her! Bang! In case people do not know, I do not like this mayor!
You may rise, Celestia said sternly, but please, no further outbursts. This is a civil discussion.
Of course, my princess. Bryce Spark breathed, getting up. I am merely suggesting that I do not see a reason to pay much attention to the claims of a pony that we know is dead wielding dark magic.
Even if that was true, Celestia countered, you still fail to consider an important fact. The only magic Dinky has ever practiced outside of this school has been in Ponyville, mostly under the instruction of Twilight Sparkle. Obviously, she didn't learn dark magic there. If so, she did pursue the topic by herself, which means she found the resources to teach herself about it within the academy walls.
The dean's eyes widened. We would never allow such a thing, she insisted. Unless, of course, you are insinuating that Twilight Sparkle taught her that. In which case you're trying to say that Celestia's student is evil. In which case, why not just dig yourself deeper? There isn't a single page in any book, or the best mention allowed by any of our professors about those terrible spells. Any student caught so much as mentioning them would be questioned as well.
Well then, I believe we have an ongoing mystery on our hands, Celestia stated. We cannot assume Dinky acted with intent to harm until we can prove where she learned those spells. I suggest you launch an investigation at the academy to search for any further evidence of dark magic use. In the meantime, Dinky will be permitted to return to her studies.
I will?
Dinky asked, bringing it to a huge smile.
She will? Bryce Spark yelled, outright.
Yes, she will, Celestia said forcefully. And I thought I said no more outbursts. I am overruling Dinky's expulsion, and if you continue to argue, I may begin to question your loyalty to the academy and dedication to your position.
Go Celestia, my mare! Best princess. Bryce Spark slammed her mouth shut, and backed up a few paces to remove her glasses, wiping them nervously with a lens cloth. Yes, of course, my princess. You know best.
Celestia's horn began to glow. A familiar roll of paper, stamped with a big X, appeared. Celestia's magic flared brighter, and the ink began to melt itself off the paper, dripping down, evaporating to steam when it hit the marble steps. Soon, Dinky's enrollment record looked brand new. Dinky, while dark magic use is a serious offense, Celestia began, I have no reason to believe it was entirely accidental. You may return to the academy, but if you're caught using any more of those spells, I will stand by the dean's decision to have you removed from our program. Is that clear?
Completely,
Dinky said, not enthusiastically.
Am I still going to have that note on my citizenship record that says I'm a magical criminal, though?
Not quite, Celestia replied. In light of this discussion, you are not being held accountable for the incident in the tower, so that particular accusation will be removed. However, I can't change the fact that a note must remain saying you are capable of using dark magic. Any unicorn who has done so must have that on their record, and no one can deny that you were the one who cast that fire spell. It is not as big of a deal as it sounds, Twilight said gently. My record includes the same note. Mine does as well, Celestia admitted.
You know, I love it when we don't always get to show Celestia being a badass. Just this magical being that you know is off screen just waiting for you to be awesome.
Celestia turned back to Bright Spark, who now stood some distance away. Return to the academy, the princess commanded. I'll be sending Dinky back on the next train.
Bright Spark forced a respectful brow. Yes, princess.
The old mare cast one not so subtle glare at Dinky's direction, then turned up her nose and trotted from the room.